Hi everyone, Agnes here. I'm going to do a part 2 for you on the four mighty ones. Now, I did a part 1 recently. If you want to listen to that first, if you have missed it, I'll put the link down below in the description for you for part number 1. Now, this second, the four mighty ones, is from the book The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard. And it's an example of how to use the four mighty ones for a particular situation. So as I read this to you, think about how to use this with whatever situation you are currently facing that is causing you some uncomfortability, some disturbance, or any other negative emotion. So it goes like this. Late in July, I wrote to a real estate agent of my desire to sell a piece of land, which had been a financial burden to me. His negative reply listed all the reasons why sales were at a standstill in the area, and he forecast a bleak period of waiting until after the first of the year. I received his letter on a Tuesday, and in my imagination, I rewrote it with words indicating that the agent was eager to take my listing. I read this revised letter over and over, and I extended my imaginal drama using your theme of the four mighty ones of our imagination from your book, Seed Time and the Harvest. The producer, the author, the director, and the actor. In my imaginal scene, as producer, I suggested the theme, the lot is sold for a profit. As the author, I wrote this simple scene, which to me implied fulfillment. Standing in the real estate office, I extended my hand to the agent and said, "Thank you, sir." And he replied, "It was a pleasure doing business with you." As director, I rehearsed myself as actor until that scene was vividly real, and I felt the relief which would be mine if the burden were really lifted. 3 days later, the agent I had originally written to phoned me saying he had a deposit for my lot at the price I had specified. I signed the papers in his office the next day and extended my hand and said, "Thank you, sir." The agent replied, "It was a pleasure doing business with you." 5 days after I had constructed and enacted an imaginal scene, it became a physical reality and was played word for word, just as I had heard it in my imagination. The feeling of relief and joy came not so much from selling the property, but from the incontrovertible proof, good Lord, who uses words like that now, that my imagined drama worked. FB. So, Neville's bit. If the thing accomplished were all, how futile. But FB discovered a power within himself that can consciously create circumstances. By mentally falsifying the facts of life, man moves from passive reaction to active creation. This breaks the wheel of reoccurrence and builds a cumulatively enlarging future. If man does not always create in the full sense of the word, it is because he is not faithful to his vision, or else he thinks of what he wants rather than from his wish fulfilled. Man is such an extraordinary synthesis, partly tied by his senses and partly free to dream, that his internal conflicts are perennial. The state of conflict in the individual is expressed in society. Life is a romantic adventure to live creatively, imagining novel solutions to ever more complex problems is far nobler than to restrain or kill out desire. All that is desired can be imagined into existence. So, thinking about what this wonderful guy FB did, he practiced a living in the end solution, irregardless of what the real estate agent said. He disregarded that. He rewrote the letter. He used the four mighty ones, and he basically went through and corrected the problem into a solution. And he got a result within 5 days, irregardless of what the agent said. Now, today, if you are in a situation where you've got a problem in front of you, see if you can apply the four mighty ones to your situation. Sit down, write it down, and assign, just as FB did in this story, you assign the producer, the author, the director, and the actor their parts. And you go through it just like FB did. Now, in his case, it was to sell a block of land, but you can use it for attracting an amazing job, correcting your bank account, perhaps losing weight, correcting an issue you have with someone in your family, or healing and improving a romantic relationship. So let me know if you've tried this. Let me know if you have any results from this when you try it. And let us know, if you want to, what situations you are applying it to. And if you feel to share how you use the four mighty ones, feel free to write it down in the thread below. I love this. It's such a simple thing to do, but it is an active, living in the end use of your mind's ability to give you relief. We can stay stuck in suffering for very long periods of time, focusing on the problem, going over it, and then having negative emotions because of what we're thinking about it. So this is a really great way to pull yourself out of these situations that you're in and to pull forward, as FB did, a desired outcome. So thank you for joining me. This is on page 31 of the book, The Law and the Promise by Neville, and it's in the chapter, Turn the Wheel Backward. Lots of love, everyone.